Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I'm Christian Esparza, Alex Napoles with me, as always. Man, it was a fun week. I don't know about you,
It
but
was a fun week, man.
I was just thinking about it, getting ready for the show. I was like, man, we had the Stanley Cup Finals. We crowned a champion. The NBA Finals keep extending. They are more dramatic than we thought they would be. Next week is a big week. We've got the NBA and the NHL draft, not to mention Game 7 of the NBA Finals tomorrow. So today's going to be a really, really fun show. Really excited for 11 o'clock. We're going to have Matt Babcock on. He's an NBA draft analyst. We're going to do a little bit of a draft preview because, again, Wednesday night is one of the biggest nights for the Jazz in recent memory. I mean, this is the highest draft pick that they've had, Alex, in a very, very long time.
That's right.
And I know that there was a lot of disappointment that they didn't get to top 1 or 2 pick, but whoever they bring in is going to be the best prospect that they've had in a while. So very excited to jump into that with Matt.
Absolutely, man. And like you mentioned, it's going to be a big night on Wednesday for the Utah Jazz. There's a lot of really good talent available, and so I'm excited to jump in with Matt and kind of break down what really is available at the number 5 pick for the Utah Jazz. I know it's not the number 1. I know it's not the number 2, but I still think that there's some exciting talent that you can probably get at that number 5.
Also, Ace Bailey, we got to get into all that tea.
Absolutely.
Got to figure out what's going on there. I think this is one of the more fascinating stories. I mean, every year somebody has to fall, right? And I'm going to bring that up with Matt. But it's like, I don't know how much of this is legit or it's just stuff being leaked by teams because it's lying season. So, yeah, we'll get into that with Matt. But before we start the show off, always got to talk about, our weeks. How was your week? Do you have a highlight?
Good week. We got Thursday off.
Yeah.
And so that's probably my highlight, man, I guess. Spent the day running a bunch of errands, getting some car stuff fixed, and just hanging out with family. I also went out with family to go eat and watch Game 6.
Oh, fun.
I did it because I thought OKC was going to wrap up the title there. And I mean, I know we'll jump into it here, but went out to go watch the game out at Buffalo Wild Wings because I thought OKC were going to, hold up an NBA championship at the end of it. But regardless, good wings out of it, good time with family, and that's probably the highlight of my week.
Do you get spicy or what's your strategy there?
Oh, man, honey barbecue.
Yeah.
I'm a
honey
chicken.
Barbecue and Asian Zing.
I'm a chicken. I don't like I like spicy. I just don't like spicy.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
One time I tried, they did like a promo. It was like their hottest rub plus their hottest sauce.
No,
it was for like an MMA fight.
I'm good.
I'm good. I regretted it.
I used to indulge in the mango habanero a lot.
Yeah. Tastes really good, but it's hot.
Very good, but it is spicy, and I like I said, I like spicy, but I'm not the biggest fan.
Sean, you got a highlight?
I went hiking.
Hey,
Thursday?
there you go.
On Wednesday, actually.
There you go.
That was my day off.
Where'd you hike?
I went up to Wall Lake.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're a big hiker. I like that.
I like it. Yep. Outdoors.
Yeah, that's awesome. And
Get out of the heat.
Dude, it was so hot this week, but I mean today and tomorrow it's supposed to randomly like really, really cool off. But that's the nice part about where we live. I mean, it's the great outdoors is right in our backyard, right?
Absolutely, man. I always love going out there and seeing the views and seeing. I don't know what it is about like just hiking up and then like looking out at the Salt Lake Valley.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's amazing. I don't know why, but it's just so.
I love where we live.
So nice.
For me. Yeah, Thursday was fun. I had a friend get married randomly on the Thursday. I thought that was a bit weird, but it was cool. Shout out to them. Beautiful wedding, again, up in Logan. It was
nice.
at a really, really nice venue up there. Really good-looking place. So, yeah, that was fun. And then yesterday was my brother's birthday, so we went out to lunch.
Hey.
And other than that, it's just been dialed in on all these sports, trying to catch up, get ready for the draft. So let's start off with the NBA, Alex. I guess I want to start with this. Some of the controversy that we had here on the station. Did you see the video or hear the segment of Hans and Scotty almost breaking up.
I did.
It got personal there for a second.
It did get personal, man.
If you haven't seen it, I'd go check it out. It's posted on YouTube. I know Hans, as he's posted it on his Twitter, and it's all over social media. They got into a heated exchange, and I guess the basis of the argument started surrounding Tyrese Halliburton because he had going into Game 6, right? So this segment was before Game 6. It was Wednesday. And it was basically an argument of whether or not Tyrese Halliburton should play with his calf strain. And Hans' side of the argument was, yes, you play, you're a competitor, you're here at the finals at the biggest stage, you go no matter what. And Scotty's side of the argument was, what if you end up hurting yourself? What if you tear your Achilles?
Right.
And you mortgage your career's future by going out and playing in a Game 6 when you're already down and the odds of you winning are not that high anyways. Why would you risk that? And it got pretty funny. It is funny because Hans obviously was a professional athlete, so he clearly has that mindset. And then Scotty's mindset was more of the business perspective. What would the team want for their future? And I'm curious where you stand on that. We don't have to fight like Hans and Scotty did.
I hope we don't. But I think I'm on Hans' side with this, man. You don't know if you're ever going to get back to this spot if you're the Indiana Pacers, right? It's not guaranteed that you'll have that opportunity to return and fight for an NBA championship and play in another finals in your career. So while you're here, I feel like you have to make the most out of it. And I mean, obviously, we saw how Game 6 turned out, and I feel like the Pacers made the most of it. And, if I'm Tyrese Halliburton, while I do run that risk of potentially, popping an Achilles or something, I don't know when I'm going to be back. I don't know when I'm going to come back and return and be able to have a chance to play in an NBA Finals. And so I'm going to give it my all. I think I see the perspective of Hans on this one.
Yeah, and obviously the game has already happened, but there's still a Game 7. So I don't want to talk about it, using retrospect too much. But at the end of the day, I agree with you. I think you put it perfectly. You never know when you're going to be back here. So go out and make the most of this opportunity because as we saw I know Boston is a funny example because, that ended because of an injury, right?
Yes.
But basically, you never know what's going to happen season to season. Last year at this time, we never thought that Indiana would be back in the conference finals. We thought that was a fluky run. Every year you see teams kind of come up and make it out of nowhere, and then you see teams disappoint. Denver, ever since they won the finals, they have struggled to reach that high again, even though they have the best player in the world. So you can't ever take the future for granted. And if you are there right now, maybe if you're down 3-1, that's a little bit of a different story. But you have the chance to force a Game 7, and that's what they did. And even if they lose tomorrow, I don't think that this was the wrong decision because, again, you just never know. You never know. Next year, the Spurs are probably going to take a big step forward. We're going to see what the Cavaliers do. The Orlando Magic just made a big trade. There are so many more teams in the NBA, and I know things are going to happen to make other teams fall, right? But it's like, it just seems like the NBA is getting more and more wide open. And there's a chance that Tyrese Halliburton and the Pacers are never going to sniff the finals again. So go out and try to capture it because you never know when you're going to be back.
100%. And so that's why I don't fault him for the decision to go out and kind of play through this injury. And, even if Tyrese Halliburton is feeling 80, 60% ready to go, he's going to be out there because he doesn't know, right? This is your opportunity. This is your opportunity to seize it, especially now going into that Game 7. Whether he's fully healthy, I think obviously impacts the game a lot. But if he's even out there just being Tyrese Halliburton and facilitating the way that he does, I think that the Pacers still have a chance in this series.
Yeah, clearly. And I think that's the line that you draw, right? If he's out there where he is hurting you, like we saw, honestly, in Game 5 when he was clearly impacted, he didn't make a shot the whole game. He made some free throws, right? So he had some points on the board, but he didn't make a single field goal all game. So it was clear that night in Game 5, he was a detriment to the team. If that's the Tyrese Halliburton you were going to get in Game 6 and Game 7, then yeah, bench him because he's hurting your chances of winning.
I agree.
But clearly he felt comfortable enough to play. The coaching staff, the front office felt comfortable with him being out there. And yeah, look at what happened. They win. And that's the nice thing, I guess I would say about Tyrese Halliburton, right? Because his usage rate isn't high. It's not like he is the type of player that needs the ball in his hands to be effective as far as shooting, right? I mean, he's still the driving engine of the offense and the way he passes and the way that he gets everybody involved. But it's not like I'm thinking Donovan Mitchell or Luka Doncic, those dribble shoot type players that, we literally saw Donovan Mitchell with an ankle injury and how much that hurt him in the playoffs. We've seen it multiple times. When his ankles are acting up, he can't get to his spots and he can't create shots like he's used to. And that's where it's a real detriment. But Tyrese Halliburton, I mean, I thought he responded great from the injury. And then obviously it helps when you've got Pascal Siakam doing whatever he's doing in the pregame huddles.
Oh, man.
I love all the jokes coming from that.
That dunk, man.
Oh, the dunk was awesome.
Ooh, phenomenal.
Yeah, and that's what you get. You've got, I mean, that was Tyrese Halliburton reading and reacting, deflecting the pass over Jalen Williams, and then Pascal Siakam just dunking all over J-Dub and Lou Dort, both of them at the same time. So I'm really excited for tomorrow. No matter what happens, I think, I mean, obviously when the series started, everybody was picking OKC in 4 or 5. Nobody thought we'd get a Game 6, let alone a Game 7. And this is the first Game 7 that we've had since LeBron and the Warriors. And thinking back, I was watching a ton of highlights yesterday about, that Game 7 and how much fun it was and the iconic LeBron chase down block and all that. So I'm very excited tomorrow because we don't get Game 7 very often. And most of the time when we do, it's very, very exciting.
Game 7 is probably one of the most exciting phrases in all of sports.
Yeah. Well, that's a discussion that we've had. Didn't we talk about it? Or maybe JJ and Alex talked about it. I can't remember. Like, would you rather be in a Game 7 or a golden goal situation? And that's a debate, for another time. But regardless, I think that's why they do it that way, right? Because if you play one game, anything can happen. The theory is if you play 7 games, the best team is going to win. But if it gets to 7 games, that means these teams are somewhat evenly matched. And even though the final scores of every game haven't necessarily been close outside of Game 1, it's not like there have been a ton of blowouts. I mean, I think 1 or 2 of these games was pretty bad, but outside of that, it hasn't been bad basketball. It's been very, very entertaining.
Absolutely. It's been super entertaining. And these are two, obviously coming into the series, I think a lot of people had written off the Pacers and everyone thought that it was going to be an easy run through for OKC to kind of make it and take this title. But the Pacers have come to play, man. And honestly, I feel like right now, these are 2 evenly matched teams. Like these are 2 teams that are trading blows, saying if you again, punch me this hard, I'm going to punch you back. And so far we've seen that. And, I think facing elimination, this is the first time the Pacers have faced elimination the entire playoffs, by the way.
Right.
And the way that they responded, obviously, was absolutely tremendous. And to be able to go and to force that Game 7 and even give yourself that opportunity to extend the series and potentially give yourself a chance to go into OKC and, play the upset and be the upset factor on their home court, I think that sets up for an amazing Game 7 tomorrow, and that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, OKC, obviously, they went 7 games against Denver, and that was a really close series. There were times where it was like, man, the Nuggets might actually do this.
Right.
And yeah, obviously the Thunder ended up coming out of the West, but ultimately, at the end of the day, I think the Pacers are going to go down as probably one of the most memorable underdog stories of any NBA finals like ever. Because this is, again, like even when the playoffs started, it was Boston and Cleveland. And anybody outside of that would be a shocker. Even though they were in the conference finals last year. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I thought the Pacers were going to the finals this year, right? But I will say, you know, when the finals started and everybody was talking about a sweep or a gentleman's sweep, I did always think that was a little premature because the Pacers are here. It's not like they're nobodies. It's not like they don't deserve to be in the finals. They fought through the East. They had to win games to get here. I think they very much deserved to be in this position. But going up against the juggernaut of the Thunder, one of the best regular season teams that we've seen, especially since that Warriors team that was so great, yeah, it looked like the odds were all stacked against Indiana, and they've never been favored in this series, even when they were up 2-1. The Thunder have always been heavy favorites. So if tomorrow, what time's the game? Afternoon, I'm assuming. If tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow night, the Pacers are lifting the Larry O'Brien trophy, I think that's probably going to be one of the biggest underdog wins in any sports championship that we've seen in recent memory.
Absolutely. You're 100% correct. Because again, go back to, 2 weeks ago when we found out this matchup was happening, that this was going to be your finals. The odds were not favorable of the Pacers at all. Everybody, like, the conversations I saw on national media, the conversations I saw on social media, even Vegas had the Thunder as big favorites. Nobody even gave the Pacers a shot, and I think that's one of the most underrated storylines in all this, especially now that we are going to a Game 7, especially now that, again, they have that opportunity to go into Paycom Center in OKC and potentially pull off one of the biggest upsets. That, again, the Pacers being the underdog and giving themselves that opportunity to not only make this deep of a run, but now have a chance to go up 4-3 in their place, I think that's absolutely phenomenal.
But then it's hard because on the other side, I mean, you've got stuff that matters for the Thunder too, right? Because for them, this is their chance to put themselves on the map. This is the chance, as we talked about last week, for SGA to establish himself as the face of the NBA. And losing his first career finals is going to be a big detriment to that, especially if it's the year where he wins MVP and they have the best record in the West and all these, net rating records and whatever, all the advanced analytics. If you lose the finals, that's a pretty big blemish on your career as far as, when you get to the very top of the echelon of players in the NBA. So it matters. This matters for Jalen Williams because there were times throughout the playoffs where Thunder fans were talking about they couldn't wait for them to trade him because they didn't think he was a good enough Robin to SGA's Batman. And I know he's played really well throughout these finals and he's gotten better every single game. But odds are if they lose tomorrow, it's because SGA didn't get enough help. I mean, that's what we see when the Thunder lose. It's either Chet or Jalen Williams really disappoints. So, yeah, there's a lot at stake for OKC here. It's not like, it's all sunshine and rainbows for them. They have a bright future set up. I mean, they're going to have to make tough decisions, whether they win or not. But, man, if they lose the finals tomorrow, if they lose to this underdog, this Pacers team that they were supposed to be such heavy favorites, they're really going to have to consider what they want to do with Chet Holmgren or Jalen Williams or both of them, not to mention Alex Caruso and Lou Dort and all these other role players that are going to get expensive here very soon.
Yes, 100%. For the Thunder, and look, I know it wasn't any of like the players who said this. It was mostly the media kind of hyping it up, but you want to talk about a dynasty? This is your chance to make that
go
to
out
start
and prove
that
it.
Exactly. This is your chance to go out and begin to prove that you can be a dynasty, that the Thunder can potentially be the next dynasty in the NBA. But if they come up short tomorrow, then I don't want to hear no more dynasty talks. I don't want to hear no more because you haven't won anything.
Right.
You have to go out and prove it on the court. And I thought going into Thursday's Game 6, I thought that the Thunder, I thought it was over, man, especially with Tyrese Halliburton, not 100% healthy.
Yeah.
I thought for sure that the Thunder were going to go in and take care of business, and they were going to be holding up that Larry O'Brien trophy in Indiana. But the reality is they kind of sucked.
That was your chance to put them away.
That was your chance to put them away, and it just wasn't good enough. I think you can't, in a finals, you can't go out and have duds like that.
Yeah.
It's inexcusable to go out and absolutely put up a dud. Even on a road, especially in a closeout game, you have a chance to put them away. Now you're risking yourself going back to your home stadium, to your home arena, and kind of putting it on the line in front of your fans. Mm-hmm. And what happens if you don't come out on top?
Right. Then you look dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Everybody was like, oh, they lost on the road on purpose just so they could go win it at home. Again, you never know. The same thing. You never know what's going to happen night in and night out. And to your point, yeah, if you end up losing, you look ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the trend that we see with some of these young teams, right? We saw it with Indiana even in the New York series. They had a chance to put New York away in New York, but they were up by so many games, they kind of got complacent and they lost, and the series got extended a game longer than it should have for whatever reason. You can boil it down to, Indiana just didn't want to have the dog mentality to put it away that night. So maybe that's what happened with OKC on Thursday. Maybe they got complacent. They said, we weren't ready for Tyrese Halliburton to come out. Yeah, he shocked us. He caught us off guard, but we're going to wrap it up at home. It's a very dangerous game to play, and if you play with fire, you're going to get burned eventually. And even Indiana had a chance. They went up 2-1, and then the next game, Game 4, they came out and they kind of looked flat. So that's what happens. I mean, neither of these teams have been in this spot, right? And I know that some players have. Pascal Siakam has, but there's something there when you talk about finals experience and playoff experience, and that's what it means.
I agree.
Is knowing what mentality to have in every situation. So, it's at the very least, it makes for an entertaining series, right? Because we are getting a Game 7 out of a series that we thought was not going to last this long at the end of the day. And no matter what happens, tomorrow night, there's going to be legacies established, whether that is the Thunder as one of the next potential dynasties and SGA as one of the potential faces of the league, or the Pacers as one of the most fun underdog stories that we've seen in a very long time, and one of the more loved teams by everybody. I can't think of anybody that dislikes the Pacers team. I have not seen, I don't think, a lick of hate towards them.
I think I would agree.
And that's been very fun.
Yes.
And refreshing, to say the least.
I would agree. I think social media is eating it up. I know, when the matchup was, when we first knew what the matchup was going to be, I think that a lot of people were kind of skeptical because of the small market. There was a lot of, talk whether or not that this finals would be able to draw interest, because there's, you think of OKC, you think of the Thunder, you think of the Pacers, it's just not big names.
It's not needle movers, no.
It's not needle movers. But honestly, the series has been extremely entertaining.
Yeah.
It's been so fun to watch. It's been fun basketball, and the legacy, like you said, you got legacies on the line. Can Shea and OKC do it? Can the Pacers pull off one of the craziest underdog stories that I can remember? Watching now Game 7, I think if you're OKC, you gotta clean up whatever turnover mess you had on Thursday night. Because if you continue to turn over the ball the way that you did, you're gonna lose at home.
Yes. 21 turnovers for the Thunder on Thursday compared to only 10 for Indiana. And that was kind of the Thunder's calling card, right? That's been what they do all series. It's the flip side. They would normally turn you over without turning the ball over. So, they turned the ball over. They were poor shooting from 3, 8 of 30. Chet Holmgren was particularly disgusting. 2 of 9 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3. He's been very poor from the three-point line throughout this series.
Yeah.
And I think Chet's hurt his stock a lot. And we'll see what happens tomorrow, and we can have this conversation next week about what the Thunder should do, because they're, as I said, Chet and J-Dub are both due for extensions this summer, and they won't kick in for a year, right? They both still have one more year left on their rookie deals, but this team is going to get expensive. They're going to start pushing that second apron. So they're going to have to make some big decisions, and Chet might be making those decisions for them. But we'll see. We got to take a break, though. Coming up next, we are going to talk about the Stanley Cup Finals. That wrapped up. Obviously, the Florida Panthers are your champions. Really excited to talk about that next. It's the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's the Saturday Show. Welcome back, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Christian Esparza, Alex Napoles. Thank you for making us a part of your Saturday morning, whatever you've got planned today. You got big plans?
No, probably not. I think I'm just going to hang out with family. I don't know what my family's doing. If they're going to like some party or some park or something, I'll probably tag along and go with them. But
yeah,
I just kind of, this weekend's just kind of a go with the flow type of weekend, and we'll see what happens.
There you go.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. Sometimes it's nice to have a low key weekend.
I like I like having a plan, and I like planning things out so then I know what I'm doing and I can be prepared for what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm just like, look, whatever happens, happens. And then, sometimes you might end up in Wendover. Who knows?
Who knows? Let's talk NHL Stanley Cup Finals, Alex. That was so much fun throughout the week. I think this was a very fun series, and it kind of opened my eyes to roster building strategies in the NHL, right? Because on one side, you've got the Edmonton Oilers with McDavid and Draisaitl, two of, let's just benefit of the doubt, two of the top 5 forwards in the entire world.
Yes.
Some people would even argue the 2 best forwards in the world. And then outside of that, the rest of their roster is kind of a mess. Meanwhile, Florida, I kid you not, this is probably one of the best hockey teams that we've seen in the last probably half or quarter century at least. And I know that my hockey knowledge does not go back that far. I don't care. I am willing, after watching this series, there is no way that there has been a better hockey team than that in the last 25 years. Am I wrong, Sean? Is that...
There's lots of people claim that online for sure, but there's the LA Kings of 2012, I believe it was. They dominated throughout the whole playoffs.
And that's where it gets close.
Didn't get to a Game 7
because
once.
Right, Toronto took this Florida team to Game 7, and it got real close there. But I'm looking at this team, it's like, I mean, the fun exercise for me, and I talked to one of my friends who's a big hockey nerd. It's like, okay, who's Florida's best player? Right? Yeah. Like Sam Bennett won the Conn Smythe. Sam Reinhart, I felt like was the most valuable player in the finals. Marchand, they don't get there without making that trade and his contributions, right? And I think he finished with 20 points across the postseason. Barkov is one of the best centers in the league, and I know that his points totals weren't up there throughout the playoffs and the finals, but it's like, how important he is to that team. Then you've got guys like Ekblad doing his thing on defense, and then the goaltender, Bobby Bobrovsky. It's like, this has to be one of the deepest, one of the best, most well-rounded hockey teams that we've seen.
I would agree.
It's crazy.
I would agree. I feel like when I was watching this Florida team.
Wait, sorry, timeout. And I totally that's how crazy this team is.
Tkachuk.
I forgot about Tkachuk.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. I feel like when you're watching this Florida team, or at least for me, and I don't know if you agree with the sentiment, Christian, but watching this Florida team, like, it's impressive how consistent they stay even when changing lines, right? You can go look at Florida's third line, and I feel like it's still extremely good. There's no drop off between lines. There's no right when certain players are off the ice, and even when a different group of players is in there, it doesn't feel like they drop off dramatically to where it's where they're not playing good hockey. Like every line that they switch out is very, very good.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it such a complete team, is the fact that they can go to their third line and say, look, you guys are still going to be in there, and they're still going to be scoring, and they're still going to be playing incredibly well hockey.
They had a Hall of Famer on their third line.
That's what I'm saying.
In Marchand.
That's what I'm saying.
And you're right. You don't lose the mentality, the intensity that you get with that top line. And that's kind of you go into culture and things like that. That's what Florida has established. And
right.
You see it on the ice and you see it off the ice. And all of these, I've been loving all the videos that we're seeing from the celebration that they've been on the last few days since they won. And that's what makes it hard when it comes to, because free agency is 2 weeks away. And Sam Bennett, Brad Marchand are both slated to be unrestricted free agents. And it would be so cool if Utah could be in on either of those guys. But it seems like they are loving Florida. It seems like what has been established there, they don't want to break up.
Right.
And so I feel like the odds
How could you want to break up?
Right, exactly.
You just went back-to-back.
Back-to-back Stanley Cup finals.
3 straight appearances.
It's crazy.
There's no reason. I feel like if you're Bennett, if you're Marchand, if you're one of these guys who are running is coming up to the free agency and running out of contract, I don't understand why you would want to leave.
No.
I mean, obviously, even if I'm working on an extension with the Florida Panthers to stay there and I have to take a little bit of a pay cut, I'm taking it. Because again, that's 3 straight appearances.
And it feels like that's what you get with hockey anyways. Like you get guys that don't care about the money total at the end of the day. Like these guys want to win.
Yeah.
And they love the brotherhood. They love speaking to kind of the family feeling and the culture that we see. I love the tradition of skating around the ice, holding up the cup, and every player gets a turn doing that. And I think that's awesome. And what Florida did, I absolutely loved. Instead of the captain, Barkov, doing it, or a vet like Marchand, or the heart and soul of the team, Sam Bennett or Tkachuk, they let the players that have never won the Stanley Cup before be the first ones to take it around the ice.
Love that.
That's so out of the ordinary, out of the norm. But with this Florida team, it's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Like, these guys are a family, and it clearly showed when the rubber meets the road, or when the skate met the ice, if you want to go that way. I mean, these guys, they were the best team.
I think...
and ultimately, Edmonton just couldn't keep up.
I agree. I think... kind of like you mentioned, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, 2 phenomenal players. I think any team would be lucky to have McDavid and Draisaitl on their side.
Mm-hmm.
But the goaltending just wasn't good for the Oilers. Whether it was Skinner, the goaltending just wasn't there for the Oilers. And I think that's probably what hurt them the most.
Yeah, that was
no doubt.
That was one of their issues last year, and they just didn't fix it at all.
Yeah, and that's where you get to this will be our segue. That's where you get to Connor McDavid being unhappy. And that's very frustrating to be the star, the face of the franchise, one of the faces of the NHL, when everybody on your team knows, and your front office knows, that you have a glaring weakness that is going to keep you from hoisting that cup, and you don't go out and address it. They had a year to figure it out. What did Florida do at the trade deadline, right? They make their team better. They go and get Marchand. They didn't need him.
They got Seth Jones,
They go get Seth Jones.
Yep.
They didn't need him. But guess what? They felt like, okay, this is our championship window. If we want to win, we need to be as good as we can possibly be. So they go out and they make moves to get better. Edmonton didn't do that. And now you get Connor McDavid, 1 year left on his deal. He is extension eligible this July 1st, right? So that kind of starts your countdown. if he doesn't feel like he can win in Edmonton, he's going to want to leave.
Yeah.
And at first, I said this tongue in cheek. I tweeted right after this game went final. I said Bill Armstrong needs to get McDavid out of Edmonton. But then, like, you start seeing all these clips of McDavid kind of sounding unhappy, and he said that he's going to take some time to talk with his agent and his family, and he likes Edmonton, and he does feel like there's unfinished business. But with that being said, yada, 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 and like the with that being said is so huge, it makes me see light at the end of the tunnel. And I know that some of these accounts, I don't remember who it was, whether it was a Bleacher Report or something like that, like they put out a graphic that said who should sign Connor McDavid if he becomes a free agent. And the Utah Mammoth logo was on there.
Wow.
And just to be in that position as a Utah sports team, that's something that we are not used to. Imagine if prime Kevin Durant hit free agency, right? That year he went to the Warriors. Imagine if the Utah Jazz were in conversation to get Kevin Durant that year. That's what you have with Connor McDavid right now. So that's just, yeah, for the Mammoth to be in that, obviously he has to hit free agency first, and
right.
We're still a year out from this being any sort of possibility. But the Mammoth are going to have the money. They're going to have ways to get it done if they so choose. And so then at that point, it really comes down to if they want to and if McDavid wants to. It could be a possibility, Alex.
Don't get me excited.
Oh, I'm going to get you excited.
Don't get me excited. That's still a year away, okay?
I'm going to get
you. He still has another year with Edmonton. Don't get me excited. Connor McDavid here in Utah would be
Imagine this.
Phenomenal.
Starting the first line.
Oh.
Mitch Marner, Connor McDavid, Clayton Keller. Second line, Dylan Guenther, Logan Cooley, and
whoever.
I don't know, maybe Josh Doan or something, but it doesn't matter.
whoever they pick up. No, that'd be incredible. And look, it's kind of awesome and crazy that we are now, the Utah is now in a position where they can think about things like this, where they can think about making some big moves in the NHL, when they can think about making some big waves in hockey. Now that this is a hockey market, there is a hockey team here, and I feel like there is an ownership, there is a front office, with that hockey team that I feel like they want success, and they're going to do what they can and everything that they'll have that drive to build something special.
Yeah.
And if that includes Connor McDavid, then I'm all game, man.
I'm all game too.
I'm all game.
I promise you that. What I think is interesting is you're not hearing. So last year, Bill Armstrong was very open about we're not quite a playoff team yet, but we plan to be very soon. And I know those weren't his exact words. I'm kind of paraphrasing. But we saw moves, right? They traded for Sergachev. They traded for Marino. They made moves to set themselves up. And this year, throughout the offseason, we're hearing that, they may or may not be players in free agency. We're not sure what they're going to do with the fourth pick, whether they're going to make the pick or trade down and get some talent. And I think that's on purpose. I think it's quiet on purpose, right?
I would agree.
But I'd be shocked if they don't do something big here in the next couple weeks. I mean, I know the draft is next Friday, and then again, free agency opens on July 1st.
Right.
I would be absolutely shocked if they're not players because, again, the moves you made last year, the trades you made last year are setting yourself up for success this year. So you have to keep building and compounding on that. If you make those moves last year and don't do anything big this year, that doesn't make sense. Now is your time to go all in, whether you're taking a swing on Mitch Marner or whether you are trading that number 4 pick for a veteran that can come in and help you win. Or maybe you miss out on Marner. There are going to be other potential names that you can bring in, whether or not they're stars. I mean, Marino was such an under-the-radar ad for the defense, and I know that he was hurt most of the year. But that's a solid veteran that's going to come in and help these young guys win. So maybe that's the route they go, is just building out that second, third, and fourth line in free agency. Who knows? But I think that they're going to make some pretty sizable moves in the next couple weeks. And I will say I'm not I'm not an insider. I'm not reporting anything. All right, I got to get that out of the way too.
It's a gut feeling.
It's a gut feeling. Okay, I don't have any information. I don't want anybody that hears this.
Don't get your hopes up.
To get their hopes up and then get mad at me if I don't. I basically don't want to hear. Oh, I'm hearing Esparza Sports on the radio say this.
Yes.
I'm just speculating here,
if
guys.
You have, if nothing happens at Esparza Sports,
and tell me I'm wrong,
go flame him.
That's fine. I can take it.
Go yell at him on the Twitter sphere. But no, I think, the Mammoth are in a position where I feel like they are just maybe, a player or two away from being a real playoff team. They weren't that far off last year. And, you go back and you look a couple seasons ago, they've been increasing their point total year after year after year. So the development is there. You can clearly see it as this roster gets more and more points as the years go on. But I feel like if they can bring in that physical center that everybody's talking about, that physical guy up front that can be one of the top scorers, that might put Utah over the top.
Yeah. Again, next week is the draft. The week after, free agency starts. So we will see how this goes. Sean, how is free agency in the NHL? I know, like other leagues, NBA and NFL, you typically see the bigger stars sign deals right away, right?
Yeah.
Is that how the NHL is?
Yeah.
Everybody wants the big names, man.
Yeah, well, I'm excited. And I think Utah fans should be excited because obviously it's a big deal. And to be in this position where, we were on the cusp of seeing playoff hockey here in Utah, so close to that happening. Injuries, not quite being ready, yada, 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 whatever. Feels like next year is the year we're going to see that happen. So tune into The Zone all week, next week, and the week after. All right, we got to take a break. Coming up next, we're going to hit technical fouls. And then coming up at 11, we're going to hear from Matt Babcock. He's an NBA draft analyst. And we're going to chat and preview the NBA draft with him. So stay tuned. It's the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
If you touch the thermostat, you'll get hit with a bat. Because that's a technical foul. You will feel my wrath. That's a technical foul.
Personal foul, 69, offense. He was giving them the business.
A technical foul.
It's the Saturday Show. Welcome back, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I'm Christian Esparza. Alex Napoles with me here. It is time for Technical Fouls, one of our favorite segments every week. We get to talk about some of the funnier things that happen in the world of sports. We award people with technical fouls and say, hey, you're kind of stupid. You're kind of dumb. And we are going to laugh at you today.
We are. Yes, we're going to make fun of you.
Alex, why don't you start us off?
Did you hear about Shedeur, man?
Who didn't hear about Shedeur Sanders?
We got to talk about Shedeur. That's the first one we're going to hit today.
Okay.
Shedeur Sanders, not once, but twice, getting cited for speeding in Cleveland. One of the most, looked at rookies. I feel there's a magnifying glass on Shedeur Sanders because of the name, because of what happened in the draft. You're supposed to go first round. Didn't go till the 144th. And now, obviously, he's over here speeding and driving 91 in 65 zones.
Yeah. You can't do that.
Can't do it.
Well, and my biggest thing was...
Oh, and 101. Don't forget 101 as well.
A lot of people have got speeding tickets before.
Right.
A lot of people...
I think I've had like 5.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have admitted that on the air. Look, it's not necessarily... I mean, we've seen, what was it, Jordan Addison with the Vikings. I think he was going like 134. Henry Ruggs, obviously, killed somebody in a crash. So it's like, yes, speeding is dangerous. I think the thing that frustrates me more with this Shedeur Sanders story is that you've got to understand that you have the biggest microscope on you right now out of all of the rookies in this draft because of your name and your story and your family and all of this. Everybody, every reporter, everybody who cares about the NFL is watching your every single move.
Yeah.
Not only do you fall in the draft, you plummet. And so now you're this underdog who has to try and come in and make a career after being a fourth or fifth round pick. Who cares? But you are dumb enough to not have your entire life buttoned up. Like, I would think that after that happens, that should have been a wake-up call. After, the draft is what I mean. That should have been a wake-up call to Shedeur Sanders. I'm going to button up my life. I'm going to not have this loud, noisy personal life outside off the field affecting whatever is going on. I'm going to show up and work hard every single day. I'm going to prove that I should have been in the first round. I'm going to prove that I can be the franchise quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. And you've got to know that people are watching your every move. And this twice in 1 month shows me that he does not care. I know from experience, I will admit I have had a speeding ticket. And you know what, Alex? For the next several months after I got that speeding ticket, you know what I did not do?
Speed.
So for Shedeur Sanders to get cited in, what was it, early? I don't know. I don't remember when the first one was, but I think they were both in June, right?
I think so.
So for him to get cited the first time early on in June, or whether it was May, whatever,
Right.
and to not care and then do it again, he's a bust.
So you have the speeding citation for 101 that happened this week. You have a citation for driving 91 in a 65. He was pulled over a third time for going 41. For going 60 in a 40, and so he's been pulled over. He's been pulled over 3 times. Got cited for 2 of those, and according to record, he failed to appear for his citation.
No, he's a bust.
So
I don't care if he hasn't played a down in the NFL. This shows. No, I'm being so serious.
No, I know you are.
This shows me all I need to know. He's going to be out of the league before he signs a second contract.
According to records, Shedeur failed to appear for an arraignment for those citations this past Monday, and now faces $269 in court fines.
Which is less than pennies for a guy who has his kind of money. And
But still,
that's the kind of stuff that frustrates me when you see professional athletes who they do not care about discipline. They've never had to face real consequence in their life. And that's what's hard when you get into children of, Hall of Famers and superstars, right? Like,
right.
This isn't a guy that's ever had to face struggle or challenge in his entire life.
Right.
So he does not know what real consequences are. And I'm not faulting Dion for that. I'm not trying to say anything about his parenting or whatever. I'm just saying that the fact of the matter is, like, when you grow up with a silver spoon in your mouth, right, your life is a lot different than somebody else who has to kind of make things for themselves. And I know that Shedeur was a talented quarterback, and I do not want to deny that. I do think that he slid in the draft. I think talent-wise he should have been selected a lot higher, but this is the type of stuff that makes you fall. And, I'm done feeling bad for him. I'm done with him. This is so frustrating. And I know, again, it's just a speeding ticket, whatever, quote unquote. Like, I'm so over with this.
For this most recent one where he got booked cited for going 101, he has to pay a $250 fine, or he can appear on court on July 3rd to fight the ticket.
Do you think he's gonna fight the ticket?
No, he didn't show up for his last one.
Oh, yeah. That's funny. Okay, let's move on because we've got a guest in the next segment. Don't want to make him wait too long. We'll make this quick. Corey Perry. He is a member of the Edmonton Oilers. I'm issuing a technical foul to him because he just lost his 5th Stanley Cup Finals in the last 6 years. He's been on the losing end of 5 of the last 6
That's rough.
Stanley Cup Finals.
That's rough.
That is really rough. The only year where he didn't make the finals and lose, 23-24, he was with the Blackhawks.
I feel kind of bad for him.
I don't.
I kind of feel kind of bad for him.
I from the outside perspective, I could see why you feel bad.
Yeah.
I mean, even Sean said I don't feel bad for him. I think
a bit.
It sounds like he's a very disliked player among the NHL circles.
Plus, he won one with Anaheim, so
It's not like he's lost every single one, right? Yeah.
Still, I mean,
Why do people not like him, Sean?
his nickname's the Worm. I mean, he just does all the nasty stuff. If he's on your team, you love it. But
Is he a goon?
a little bit.
Okay.
He just does all the little things like after the whistles, poking the goalies.
So he fit right. Actually, he was one of the big instigators in that 5-on-5 fight
Yeah.
with Edmonton and Florida. Yeah, I think
Not
he's the
mine,
one that
bro.
slashed the guy in the face with his stick.
Yeah.
I can't remember who was down. I think it was Bennett.
I mean, can you blame the guy? He was about to lose yet another Stanley Cup final, man.
Yeah, right. He's just losing his mind.
I would too. I'd be cross-checking. I'd be doing I'd be playing dirty too, man.
So whatever team Corey Perry joins next, I don't know how long his contract is with Edmonton, but whoever his next team is, you can bet on them making the finals. It's a pretty good bet, but do not bet on them winning the finals.
If whatever team Corey Perry's on, or bet the opposite team.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
All right, we got to take a break. Coming up next, we're going to chat with Matt Babcock. He is an NBA draft analyst. I believe he is a former agent as well. We're going to preview Wednesday's draft. It's one of the biggest nights in Utah Jazz history, so can't wait to talk about that next. It's the Saturday Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.